Hello, everybody. This is Tim Heaney from RotoWire. Welcome to the YouTube page. Going to give this a little bit of a whirl. Hopefully, we can make something out of this for fantasy baseball purposes. Hopefully, I've seen many of you on the Facebook page for the occasional weekly chat. This is maybe a plan that's possibly in place for the weekly chats, regardless for the coming week. But want to hop on now because a big piece of news just kind of hit, and it might be a little bit worrisome to his owners here. So. Wil Myers of the Padres was placed on the disabled list, 10-day disabled list with right arm nerve irritation. He had some back issues during the spring in a couple weeks and about maybe last week, and he had trouble throwing from the outfield, and it was a little bit bothersome when he was batting recently. So the Padres decided to place him on the 10-day disabled list. Luckily, it looks like it's not the worst early prognosis there. His possible first day of return is April 13th, which is next week. He's already missed a little bit of time. I think they retro dated it a little bit, but still, a little bit of a bad absence. It's weird because he just hit a home run and came close to hitting a second one the other night. So it seemed like he was okay, but the nerve irritation was kind of a bit of an issue. Couldn't throw the ball from the outfield, and it's good to rest him this early in the season to kind of figure that out. Luckily, there's no structural damage right now. Not the same arm as his wrist issues from 2015. This is with the right arm. That's the left arm. So no concern from the past injuries there. But still, a bit of an early season hiccup for his fantasy owners here. His fantasy shareholders are going to have to kind of find a different way to plug in someone for at least 10 days. Maybe plan on, in case this could be bothersome. I'm sure we'll have some more reports on this on rotowire.com from our injury expert, Jeff Stotts, an athletic trainer who writes about this stuff for us every week. So maybe we can figure that out there. It's a big loss either way. Myers, known for his power and speed from a first baseman. He was close to gaining outfield eligibility also early in the season. I believe he had like 3 or 4 games. He had 3 games in the outfield. You like to have that extra flexibility and get it out of the way in the early part of the season. Now he'll have to wait on that. Anything with the right arm, you're a little bit concerned about the power potential there, even though, like I said, didn't seem to be bothering him unless the injury came after that. We're not sure yet. But in the National League, it sucks because he can't play a DH if he's having trouble throwing. So that's the one drawback to this. That's why they want to kind of hold him out for as long as possible here. So the thing is, who's going to replace him? Depending on how long he's going to be out. The Padres have a mix of people that can that can make this work here. They have Manuel Margot is kind of locked into center field, but right field and left field they have some people that they can flip flop there. Jose Pirela had a great spring. This probably means more work for Hunter Renfroe now, more than just facing left-handers. They could put Corey Spangenberg in the outfield as well. Matt Caesar can get the occasional at bats versus left-handers. And Frenchie Cordero, hasn't even come back yet. He might be returning soon as well. He's had the injury since spring training, kind of locked him out of playing time. Yeah, that groin injury he had that kind of slowed the breakout he was looking like he was going to have in the spring. So the Padres have a lot of guys who could do this. It depends on how long this is actually going to be affecting Myers. So I think that it's not the best idea to kind of go hard in bidding on one of these guys because it's just kind of filling a gap right now. If we get news a little bit down the road where this might be a long-term issue for Myers, nerve damage, not even damage, it's irritation now, but if it's something larger that could affect the impact of when he can return, then maybe you can kind of solidify whoever kind of separates themselves from the pack here. Renfroe is kind of a nice power grab. That's basically his singular skill is power, and you prefer to have him face left-handed pitching. So that's one thing where I would definitely, in a mixed league, I think there's still some appeal there if you can kind of plug him into that 5th outfielder spot or utility spot or something. That's a good way to kind of go over that. Pirela kind of has, like I said, he was the other spring training breakout guy. He used to be able to play second. Now he's kind of just hanging on in the outfield solely. Another right-handed guy with a little bit of power. Maybe he can steal a few bases if all goes right. Cordero is the one with the most upside as a stolen base artist. And he can hit the ball really hard. Big fan of uh, he had some big fans at RotoWire with Clay Link and James Anderson, a bunch of other people in the spring battle there. He probably should have, he could have had a better shot at it if he actually had lasted without the injury. But it's going to be a really weird situation how the Padres handle this. There's probably going to be a lot of platooning going on there. Maybe they have Corey Spangenberg be in left field against the right-handed pitcher, and that's the top side. So Spangenberg might be the big winner of this so far. Carlos Asuaje is at second base. Got to see how long that lasts, but they prefer to have him there. It seems like the Padres. So I think Spangenberg, Perella, and Renfroe are probably the big winners because you have right field too as well in this aspect of things. So as I said before, I don't think I would go all that intense as a bidding in the bidding on one of these guys. So let it play out the way it's going to be for maybe a few days. And if Myers, comes back quickly, then it's probably not going to matter much. So if you want to throw that trial bid this weekend on one of these guys, like $1 or $2, something like that, just really cheap dice roll type of thing, that could work as well. But it seems like the early indication to this is that Myers is not going to miss much time. We'll have more updates on that as that changes. So, Wil Myers owners just got to get those plenty of outfielders on the waiver wire. You might be able to find somebody with a little bit more staying power than one of these Padres guys as well. Maybe to replace the speed, to get Leonys Martin of the Tigers. Maybe a Gerardo Parra from the Rockies is one of the guys I put on my list in the leagues I have Wil Myers to replace him. You got plenty of flexibility because if you're replacing a corner infielder as well with Myers, he's mostly he had first base to start the season, but you never know, that might have been outfield in Yahoo or something. Maybe if you have access to Christian Villanueva after his big night last night at third base, that could be a corner infield replacement as well. And we're going to have a lot more coverage on this over the weekend at rotowire.com. We're going to have the waiver wire report, the FAB report for both the AL and NL. So if you want to check out the NL version of that report, you can see which guys might be the best band-aids for the situation there. Because like I said, we'll have to wait a few days probably to get the real good diagnosis of this. But unfortunately, the Padres not releasing Dinelson Lamet's information, that MRI that they were keeping secretly a little bit, makes me a little bit worried that there might be a similar situation with Myers if it turns out to be something negative, overly negative for the long term. Well, I mean, Wil Myers is a tough guy to replace with both power and speed, but at least this early in the season, you could probably plan to make up for it. If it's going to be an extended absence, you can make a trade and get more out of that trade or something like that for the rest of the season than you would if it's happened in like July, and there might not be much of a market there. So, we'll have more updates on this at rotowire.com. You can try us if you're not a subscriber already. Try us out for free at rotowire.com/free for 10 days. No credit card required there. You can check out our news. You can check out our feature articles, including the waiver wire stuff and the injury report that's likely to come from this injury here. So, Wil Myers owners, stay focused on what's happening. Stay up on how long he's probably going to miss, but it looks like we might have dodged a huge bullet here. So, take a look at how the Padres manage their lineups the next few days, and maybe we'll come back on a little bit more analysis on that later. So, thanks everybody for joining this little brief live stream, and hope your Wil Myers owners can find a replacement soon.